What's up everyone, Adam from Cape Crawlers, and today we got our hands on the brand new FMS H1 Hummer. What is it?
A Hummer.
Is it cool?
Yeah.
You love it?
Yeah. I do. I love it so much.
Welcome back to the channel everyone. Got a great video for you today. We got our hands on this brand new release from FMS. They just dropped this. This is the brand new H1 Hummer, officially licensed by GM and Goodyear. This thing offers incredible scale details. We're going to unbox it together. We're going to check out all the key features. We're going to go hit the trails with it and run it, see how this thing performs, and I'll give you my final thoughts at the end. Now, before we get into this thing, please consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. Hit that notification bell so you can stay up to date on all things crawler related and new releases just like this one. Now, let's open this thing up and check out the features. Right, so full disclosure, my son and I have already been into this thing because I was not going to keep him away from this when he saw it in the box. He is a military vehicle fanatic, and this thing blew his mind, let me tell you. Packaging is excellent. FMS does a great job with their packaging. It's got the key features and some of the key specs all over it. This comes in two colors. It comes in a yellow and it comes in a black. We got the black one. The box is pretty small because they've got this thing packed in here tight. We got the owner's manual, which I've already checked out because there's a lot to cover in this thing. We have our transmitter here. It's a typical 2.4 gigahertz transmitter. If you're familiar with FMS products, it will look very familiar to it. More buttons though, which we'll go into in depth in a minute. Here is the truck itself. It's lighter than I thought. Seeing all the scale details and things, I expected it to be much heavier. Inside the box there's also a T-wrench and some additional license plates. Not much for extra accessories here. You do not get a battery and charger with this one. Right, here it is. Boy, does this thing look impressive. So FMS made some bold claims when they were marketing this vehicle, calling it the best RC Hummer in the world, and also a no-compromise work of art scale vehicle. And seeing it in person and going over some of the features, I do not think that they overstated those claims. This thing is scale, detail, and realism to the next level. They have done an incredible job with this truck. Let's hit some of the highlights here. So in the front, bumper folds down. It is a plastic bumper. It does fold down. It is winch capable. It does not come with a winch, but it is ready to go with a winch. It has 20 LED lights all around it. A bunch in the front has LED indicators, front and back. These lights here on the windshield also light up. So you have 20 LED lights all around this thing. All four doors open up. They all have metal latches to open, which I really like because some of the other super scale FMS rigs like the People's Car, the latches tend to break pretty easy, but these are metal. They feel very solid. The roof also comes off very easy. It just pops on and off. Pops into 6 slots on the top of the chassis here. With the roof removed, you get a view of this exquisite interior. The detail is insane. It has soft touch seats on the driver's side. You can see that the gauges have the stickers or the gauge pods already installed. Steering wheel does move. That does move in tandem with the servo that controls the front wheels. So when you turn the front wheels to the right, steering wheel moves to the right and vice versa. Cup holders, shifters, I mean, super realistic. It says Hummer right in the seats. Folding mirrors, fold down windshield. The hood also opens up to reveal the electronics. This also has metal latches on the hood, again, which I'm very pleased to see from a longevity standpoint. Under the hood, we can see the 7-channel ESC receiver combo. This has a 370 brushed motor. Like I said, does not come with a battery. The connector is a little wonky. It's an XT30 connector. I've had a really hard time finding a battery for this. Bold Hummer logo on it. The detail is insane on this with the rivets all around it, the realistic rivets. The bodywork looks incredible. The tailgate does open. It has these metal pins here, which are, I gotta say, these are very cumbersome to remove. I wish they'd kind of gone with a different mechanism to secure the tailgate. These are very tricky. There's one. You also do not get any extras, so if you lose them, that's all you got. I may take these off and just use kind of hood pins from an SCX-24 or something similar. Once off though, the tailgate functions very well. You can open and close it. Super cool. It has functional D-rings on both the front and rear bumpers. Aside from the cosmetic details and the insane realism on the exterior, underneath this thing, it is loaded with features. Now we've got four-wheel steering included in this thing. We have got electronic locking differentials controlled by the transmitter. We've got the ability to switch back and forth between two-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, also on the transmitter. Underneath this thing, scale realism continues. Now this is ball bearings throughout, 47 steel ball bearings, I believe. We've got portal axles with metal gears in the transmission, metal drive shaft, super scale look underneath. It's even got a scale exhaust in here, double wishbone suspension, oil-filled shocks, 2-speed transmission in this, again operated by the transmitter, just loaded with features. Now all of this is operated by 7 servos in this thing. So you've got 2 Metal Gear 13-gram servos, I'm assuming for the front and rear steering. You've also got 5 9-gram servos that are plastic geared that are running all of the ancillary components in it. We've got fully licensed Goodyear Wrangler tires on these military-esque wheels. The rubber feels pretty good, although a little bit stiff, but this is not going to be a hardcore rock crawler, so we don't need a lot of conformity in these tires. They just look fantastic on the vehicle. Everything comes together so well. The thing is just incredible looking. Now before I fire this thing up, let me give you some size comparisons. So here it is against the People's Car. This is the 12 scale Beetle. FMS does such a good job with their scales. I feel like they really nailed the size of the H1. Here it is against my son's tatted up Jimny. So again, dwarfs the Jimny here, but I think it's pretty realistic. The H1's a pretty big vehicle. Very cool. All right, now let's throw a battery in this thing and we'll fire it up and I'll demonstrate some of these features and then we'll get it out and run it. All right, my friends, we got this thing up and running. So let's go over some of the key features here. We'll talk about the transmitter. So you got the 7-channel transmitter and receiver combo here. If you're familiar with the FMS transmitters, particularly the later models here, you'll know that these have multi-functionality built into them. This is no exception. Some of the buttons here do multiple different things. So for example, channel 4 here, by the grip, does your LED lights. So you can cycle through various different settings of our LED lights. See, we have indicators. I believe the indicators are always on regardless of the LED position. The LED lights look fantastic on here, especially these running lights in the front on the black. This thing looks great. But something else really cool that the channel 4 does, it also operates your 2- and 4-wheel drive engagement. So let me get this thing up in the air on my high-tech stand. So we should be in 4-wheel drive now. Yes. So if I press and hold channel 4, you can hear that servo disengage the wheels in the front. So now we should be in 2-wheel drive. Yes, we are. Just like that. Very cool. So press and hold it again. We should be back in 4-wheel drive. Yep, just like that. Now, 4-wheel steering on this thing. Channel 5 right here in the top left does your 4-wheel steering. So by pressing this button once, beeps twice, puts us into opposite phase. This is going to give you that super tight turning radius. Hitting it again, beeps 3 times, going to put you in crab walk. So you can sidestep around obstacles. Hit it again. We do rear steer only. And then one more time brings you back to front steer. One of the coolest features on this thing that I am super excited to try out is the electronic locking differentials. So channel 6 on the transmitter does the diffs. So we should be open right now. Yes, we're open. See, if I grab that tire, it doesn't do anything. If I hit it again, you can hear all those servos do their thing. Now we should be locked. Yes, we are. Very cool. Now I'm going to try an experiment here just to show you how this works. Let's see if we come up to this tire here. I'm in low gear. Come up to this tire. I'm in open diff. You see I just get stuck. I'm going to change the obstacle here. You see that the front passenger tire just doesn't want to do anything, okay? Now, we lock the diffs. You can hear the thing engage. Come up to that tire and crawl right over it. How cool is that? That is an awesome feature. I think that is fantastic. Other features on the transmitter, you have your steering and your throttle dual rates and your trim buttons down here as well. Channel 7 is available here, but it is reserved for the winch. Now, I understand, I assume that this is pre-wired for a winch, which is why it says that. So this is in there. There's nothing programmed to it right now, but there's a spot to mount a winch there, which I'm assuming FMS is going to release a scale winch accessory for this. And when they do, I am guessing that you can just plug it into the channel 7 and operate your winch with the transmitter as well. Now, this is also 2-speed transmission like the typical FMS crawlers. You have your gear switch right here on the transmitter. This is channel 3. So towards the driver all the way is low gear, middle is neutral. Towards the front of the transmitter is second gear, speed gear. Let's check out how fast this thing is. Man, that 370 motor is peppy. It's quick. I wonder what happens if we put it in 2-wheel drive with high gear. You busted 2 burnouts. Oh my gosh, what a riot. This thing is so cool. Man, I am in love with this thing. And the ESC on it crawls really well, actually. Look at the slow speed you can get out of it. Now, this is not a bona fide rock crawler, but man, that ESC offers a lot of control. And you have real reverse lights. You see that? I'm so excited to get this out. I know my son is dying to try it out. So we're going to go hit the trails with this thing, get some good run footage for you guys, and then I'll circle back and give you my final thoughts. So I'm out here with the H1, one of our favorite spots. Just want to demonstrate some of the features here in the real world and talk it over while we're going through it. So first off, the thing's very quick. Check out the speed. 2-speed transmission. Much faster than walking speed. I do feel, even though it has portal axles, it does suffer from clearance issues. So using the 4-wheel steering to navigate around obstacles like this is really helpful. Super tight turning radius there. Let me see if I can demonstrate the diff function here. So that's open diff. Now we'll lock it. Just like that. The tires work okay. You can definitely benefit from a more aggressive tire, I feel, but the scale looks from these ones is great. So you're not going to be doing real hardcore crawling with this thing, I can't imagine. Utilizing the four-wheel steer to navigate around things and through obstacles rather than over. I have found too, just with some speed, you can glide over obstacles. Since it does has that very scale H1 undercarriage with lots of skid protection, you can glide up over things when you hit them fast. Slowing down, you seem to get hung up and get stuck. Carry some speed, you can get over a lot. My son put some small scale figures in there. They're very small. I think you'd probably need maybe a 7 to 9 inch figure in there to look really scale. The motor's nice and quiet. Plenty of power for this thing. Low range is very low, so we put it down into first gear. It's very slow, significantly slower than walking speed, but lots of pep on top. It's nice to be able to open the diffs when you're going through the trails. Just helps improve the turning radius, even when four-wheel steering is off. And then having that ability to lock the diffs when you need to. Just super cool. The real-world application of these features is really fun. Some good examples of the four-wheel steer opposite phase with the diffs open. It's that real tight turning there. To navigate this tricky rocky section. Have not utilized the two-wheel drive function because we've been off-road. The tires don't grip enough to where I think you would want two-wheel drive on the trail. That's definitely going to be for real hard pack gravel roads or pavement. Alright my friends, just about back to the big Jeep now. Gonna wrap this up, go give you guys my final thoughts in just a minute. But this is a lot of fun, very, very cool rig. Fresh off the trail, ready to give you my thoughts on driving the H1 Hummer from FMS. What a cool truck. It looks fantastic on the trail. Very fun to drive. Even more fun to just watch it drive around. It looks so scale and so real. It's plenty quick too. So I was driving one of my 10 scales. Axel was driving the Hummer. We both kept pace with each other very easily through the trails. So that 370 brushed motor with the 2-speed transmission has plenty of power and makes it a lot of fun bombing through the trails. Kicking it down into low gear and doing some crawling with it, it's really neat to see the functionality of these added features. Engaging the locking diff when you come up against an obstacle with the diffs open and get into some trouble. Engaging those diffs and watching it hook up and function like a real truck. It's just really cool. So seeing that in action on the trail was really, really fun. A couple drawbacks that we ran into: the scale looks and the scale dimensions do hurt you a little bit on the trails if you get into any type of aggressive terrain. Even with the portal axles on this thing, it does seem to get hung up pretty easily, and it could really benefit from some more ground clearance. The battery connection, that XT30, is a really weird connection. I struggled really hard to find a battery to fit this thing. I ended up, you can probably see it in the run footage, I ended up snaking the battery wire under the dashboard into the interior and running one of my big full-size packs from my 10th scale with the XT60 connection to it. So that's why you can see the wires and things in the back seat of some of the run footage. So I really wish that FMS had gone with a more commonly used plug for the battery. That's kind of nitpicky stuff. With all these scale details and features, it does make me a little nervous. Having 7 servos buried in this thing gives me a little bit of anxiety. And the little door hinges and latches and all those little ancillary components, I hope they hold up. They seem to be made very well. Thankfully, a lot of the scale hardware, including the door latches and things like that, are metal on this model. So I'm optimistic that they'll hold up well. The truck itself is pretty pricey at $330 with no battery or charger, but I think for all of the features and the scale details and all of the craftsmanship and the work that went into creating this thing, I think it can justify the higher price. Overall, I really dig this truck. We had a blast with it. Axel loves it. The scale detail and the functions and features that this thing offers is just amazing. It is really, really fun and just fascinating to watch it go around and do its thing and engage all those features. In real world conditions, it's just a blast to drive. But let me know your thoughts down below. What do you think of the H1 Hummer? I'll put the link in the description down below if you want to pick one of these up. They are available now. They do come in the 2 colors. You can get the black like we have, or you can get a really cool yellow that they offer. As always, thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate your time. Please like and subscribe if you haven't done so, and I will see you in the next video.